because I knew it was interesting when I left to go join this tech company. I knew in the first week that I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
I don't know that this was the right fit for me. And people ask me all the time, well, why didn't you leave? And I'm like, because I made a decision and
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
stubborn that way. Like I couldn't tell the people that I'd let, the company that I'd left that I made a bad decision maybe. And I wasn't sure that it was a bad decision. I just wasn't sure that it was what I thought it was going to be. And I knew it in the
Yes.
first week.
Yeah.
You just have that instinct, that gut.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
also when I reflect on it now, and this is a lot of therapy and a lot of like coaching from my executive coach to get to this point of like, it wasn't that it was a bad, it was just not, it was still a decision that I made that I needed to live with, and I still learned a whole heck of a lot that I
Mhm.
would not have learned on a global scale. And so I don't regret the decision because people ask me a lot of time, "Do you regret it?" I'm like, "No, I don't regret it." I learned a lot about myself as a leader. I learned a lot about myself as a human being on like how I will and won't move in as an executive in the next role. I learned a lot about leaders I will and won't work for and what to look out for. And I learned a lot about like setting a boundary
Mhm.
and protecting myself. But I don't regret the decision I made. I don't regret the decisions I made while I was in that business. So
Good.
you live and you
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you were exactly where you were supposed to be at that time, and that was
Yeah,
you were supposed to learn something from that and
totally.
take it from
But
there.
y'all, it was like right before my 40th birthday that like I
No
made this
way.
decision to leave. And we had like just bought a new house. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm such a loser. I'm about to turn 40 and like I don't have a job.
Yeah.
And what am I
Mid-crisis.
doing?
Well, you
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
live under chaos. You
Yeah,
love
totally. And
that.
I think it's pretty clear I
You
thrive
see
in
the thrill.
chaos. Yeah, but I never left a job without another job lined up. But it was one of those
Yeah.
things where like I needed to go. It
Yeah.
wasn't healthy. And for all that I learned from it, it was also just something I had to do for myself. But and it didn't take that. I mean, it probably took like 3 or 4 months. I didn't start right away. I really needed to like feel
Mhm.
everything. And I did spend that first month or so in with my therapist quite a bit on like, what did I learn from this and how do I reframe and like not use it as a way to like um where I allowed for people to like knock me down and feel like I had, that I'm lesser than, right? So it truly it was a lot of work I had to do on myself before I knew that I would be ready for the next thing and do it wholeheartedly and like with a lot of conviction and confidence.
Mhm.
I think that's something underrated, like
Yeah.
using therapy to succeed in your career. I think that's one of
Yeah.
the main benefits that people should opt into. I know a lot of friends that they transition maybe career paths totally, or like
Mhm.
yourself, industries and career paths. And just to understand how to not have imposter syndrome
Oh yeah.
or to not feel like the people around you need to be your cheerleaders, like yourself, those people weren't your cheerleaders. Maybe it was because they're so used to traditional approaches. I know government usually is like that, and that could have knocked you down if you didn't
Yeah.
have that support.
Yeah. I just, it was so interesting. I'd never felt like I wasn't understood or appreciated for what I did bring to the table, which is a lot of speed and urgency and a lot of passion and energy. And, working for a company that I've always worked for companies on the East Coast and we move differently on the side
Mhm.
versus companies that are on the West Coast or in the Midwest and not realizing the personality conflicts that can naturally arise from that. It's just not something I had ever dealt with before or even thought about. And then on top of that, you're working and supporting 7 other countries. And employment law and culture implicate everything is so different. I mean, even being an American working in a Canadian company is very different.
Mm.
And then you talk about adding 6 more countries on top of that. It was, like I said, it was incredible lessons learned. I don't regret it at all. I've learned a lot. But yeah, like there's something about being vulnerable about that. It took me a
Mhm.
while to get to a point